When we think about Jeep, we think about America, and we think about off-roading. However, this Jeep that we're featuring today is not built in the United States. It's actually built in Italy. Our spotlight is on this 2019 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk. Now, this is a facelift for Jeep's subcompact crossover, and it is the smallest vehicle in their lineup. Base MSRP for the Trailhawk is $33,945 Canadian. There's about $5,500 worth of options to bring this just under $40,000 Canadian. We're going to be going over absolutely everything you need to know about this Colorado red Jeep Renegade Trailhawk. So Jeep Renegade, it is a facelift for this vehicle. It's a very mild facelift though. You have a new front fascia and grille surrounds, new aluminum rims, 3 new paint colors, and a new LED lighting group, which this vehicle has. It's an $895 Canadian package, adds LED headlights, tail lamps, cornering fog lamps, and daytime running lights. Essentially, the other technical changes they've added are to the advanced tech group. Doesn't come on this trim, you'd have to go up to the limited, and they've basically added radar cruise control. Another small change is the instrument cluster graphics. They are new for 2019. Now, this vehicle has a number of options, as I said, just over $5,500 Canadian, an $850 popular equipment group, which adds auto dimming mirror, manual 4-way passenger seat with a power 4-way driver lumbar, an 8-way seat, and rear 40-20-40 split seats. You also have a passive entry and remote start package that actually adds no cost to it. It is included, but you have to option it. For $890, there's the safety and security group that adds blind spot with rear cross traffic, a security alarm, and a tonneau cover for the back. The blind spot is essentially the only enhanced safety technology you get on this car. There's automatic wiper blades, and that's pretty much it. Cold Weather Group 2 is an $895 package that adds front heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and windshield wiper de-icers. Not something that we necessarily need today. And you also have the $995 Uconnect 8.4 nav group. Has the 8.4-inch Uconnect system with Sirius XM, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a poor quality backup camera, and navigation. Finally, the Beats Audio Premium Sound System is a $995 option. It adds 8 speakers and a subwoofer. Doesn't sound too bad for the price. With the Trailhawk, there's only one engine available here in North America. It is the 1.3-liter direct injection turbo. It produces 177 horsepower or 132 kilowatts and 200 pound-feet of torque or 270 newton meters. Not too bad. However, Chrysler says towing is not recommended with this engine. If you go with the Tiger Shark engine, you have up to 2,000 pounds of towing. This also comes with the 9-speed automatic transmission, and there is a all-wheel drive mode selector on the inside. We'll talk about it when we start taking it off-road. Suspension setup is interesting. Front are McPherson struts with coil springs and high-strength steel double shell lower control arms. Those double shell ones are only on the 4x4 model, and the rear suspension is a Chapman strut with high-strength steel links and isolated steel rear cradle for the 4x4 model as well. With the Trailhawk, you also have the Falken Wild Peak all-season tires. They are 215/65 R17s, a little bit more off-road oriented than what you would get on other trims from the Renegade. Now, as I mentioned, this vehicle is manufactured in Italy. It is a world car, if you want to call it that. It's kind of based on the Fiat 500. I keep calling this a Fiat Panda, even though it is not a Panda whatsoever. I just think it's kind of cute, but it is a cute little crossover, and I do see a couple of them on the road here and there. Now that the Trailhawk is here, people who are really into doing off-road and adventure-oriented things might be more interested in it, but only time will tell. But what do you get with this? With the Trail Rated, with the Trailhawk, all of this means something, right? It's marketing mostly, but you do have a little bit more than what you would get on the standard Renegade. The Trailhawk comes with Jeep's Active Drive Low with 21:1 crawl ratio, along with those drive modes that I mentioned we'll talk about after. You also have 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is 2 inches more than the front wheel drive version of this, and about an inch more than the 4x4 version that's not trail rated. You also get Jeep's signature red rear and front tow hooks. There's 2 on the front, 1 on the back. 8.1 inches of wheel articulation, and the hill descent control with 19 inches of water fording. So not too bad, not quite as capable obviously as the Wrangler or even the trail rated Jeep Trailhawk Grand Cherokee. But if you're looking for an entry-level Jeep, this might be your option. Now we're going to take this on the road. We're not actually taking it on the road. We're going to be taking it around this off-road track here. We're going to talk about how this vehicle performs in its environment. as it is trail rated, to see if it can go over trails, go over some sand, and some other off-roading things that we're going to be doing with the 2019 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk. I know the last time I did a trail-rated Jeep, things did not go very well. That was my fault. I didn't really like the car though, so that doesn't change anything. But I didn't really do a very good job doing off-roading. And the thing is, out here, even though we're in the country, in the eastern part of Quebec, it's still all private property. I mean, I can't just go anywhere and drive over people's stuff. So it's hard to find off-road stuff. If you live in this area, if you're in the Montérégie and you know an area that you're allowed to legally do off-roading, please let me know. I'm here in what looks like to be just a dump. I came into this area and there was garbage left everywhere, and there is some garbage all over this, but there is some sand and some rocky stuff that we're going to be doing some testing because this vehicle is trail rated. And yeah, I could spend a bunch of time telling you how it performs and handles on the road. To be fair, I mean, it's okay. You know, there's road noise. You can hear a little bit of wind coming in from the vehicle, kind of similar to what we saw with the Wrangler. The road and ride feel is what you would expect from a subcompact crossover. It's not exceptional, but for most people who want a rugged vehicle, it should work. Because you have a little bit more ground clearance over the front wheel drive version of the Renegade, you can go off-road. So we're going to be doing some stuff here. I have the vehicle in sand mode, and that's one of the great things. You have a number of different drive modes for the four-wheel drive system. Automatic is just basically regular mode. You've got snow, sand, mud, rock, then the ability to put in four-wheel low, all-wheel drive lock, and a hill descent mode. So we're in some sandy stuff right now. We're in sand mode, and it's going pretty well. No problem. I mean, we're going pretty slow, but it works pretty well. If you want to give it a little bit of power, you certainly can. I don't want to get stuck though, obviously. This is going to be a bad call to FCA, telling them that I'm stuck in the middle of essentially a dust bowl here. But it works. I mean, we're getting through it, especially with the small engine on this. It gets the job done. The four-wheel drive system is what helps the most. And these are more, kind of off-roady tires that come with this, which is a nice thing. I think that was one of the complaints, too, that people had when we had the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk, is they had winter tires on it. Obviously not ideal for doing off-roading. Now, I do apologize. You can't see a ton of stuff on our cameras here. It's just the way that things are. I don't have a cameraman, but we're going to try to go up this pretty big hill here. So we can't go up that hill. Tried that twice now. But we're going to go on this little trail here. Hoping to God I don't get stuck. It does look like this is used for vehicles. It does seem to have some tracks on there. If you take it at a good speed, you should be fine. I don't see any real issues along this path. And keep in mind though, I mean, this is trail rated, that's what Jeep says. It's missing some things that we saw on the previous Trailhawk that we did. There is no option for, say, going into the off-road pages through the Uconnect system, and that was a helpful thing. It would show you things like your pitch and roll. Doesn't have that here. There's also no 360 camera, so you're essentially just going based on what you can see in front of you and using the relatively poor backup camera if you need to reverse out of things. So it's not ideal. I think that that would be a nice thing to add considering it's just software, but they don't have that with this vehicle. Now I'm going to put this back into automatic mode, but I'm going to put on the four-wheel drive lock just so that we've got it. We're going to go up a bit of a hill here. Doesn't look to be too muddy, so we should be okay. Give it a little bit of power. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. But that's doing a really good job. I'm impressed. This is the first time I've driven through here. Might also be the last time I'm driving through here. But so far it's pretty good. It is a little tough to see over the hood of the vehicle. And you can put the seat up. One of the things I do like about this is the vertical space on the inside is exceptional. It's probably the best that I've tested in a vehicle before, where I've just got like almost half a foot of headroom. So if I really wanted to, I could put the seats up higher and see a little bit more, but for the most part I think I'm pretty good. I have a good idea of where we're going. This part's a little downhill, so we're going to take it a little slower. You really should have a spotter. It's not something that we have right now. Again, doing this show on my own, there's not much that I can do about that, but you want to be able to have somebody outside, especially without a 360-degree camera system in unfamiliar territory. You never know what you might be encountering, but this seems to be a trail that people have used, probably not necessarily for a Jeep Renegade, but I'm sure that they have used it for smaller ATVs. There's a lot of ATV and off-road vehicles that get purchased here in Quebec and people like to use them. Can't go up there. But yeah, we're coming back down again. It's doing a pretty good job. That's a good thing about a vehicle like this. If you really do want to take it on some trails like this, it's doing its job, right? It's getting the job done. It's not got all the features that you would really want out of an off-road vehicle, but I think with the lift on this and the tires, they're also a little bit thicker than what you would get on the normal Renegade. So you do have a little bit more control for things like off-roading. And I think that people would be interested in this. Is it necessarily my vehicle? Not really. But what you get out of it works. I mean, the 1.3 liter engine might be a turnoff for some North American buyers. It's a very small engine, but it's working for what we're doing. Fuel efficiency is kind of meh, and we'll talk about that when we wrap up. But it works. The 9-speed transmission also, gets the job done. It's nothing spectacular. But again, if you're looking for something a little different than your typical off-roader, more expensive off-roader, then this is an okay option, especially as configured at about $40,000 Canadian. It's not the most expensive, it's not the least expensive, but you can also take off some of the options as well and get more of a bare bones vehicle, but have something a little bit more fun with it. I mean, we're back in the sand. I've put it back into sand mode. It's doing what an off-road vehicle should do. You're not expecting it to be doing something like this massive hill in front of me. I'm not going to be able to do that. We already tried to go up it a little bit. The point of this is to be a little bit more adventure oriented than the typical Renegade, and obviously compared to other subcompact crossovers in the segment, this would be the most capable in the segment if you're looking to actually do off-roading like this, as we are doing here. I know it's still not heavy off-roading, but yeah, it's good enough. We're going to put it back into automatic mode since we're not in the sand. Going over some bush. Oh yeah. There's no rock here. I can't really do any rock. We're not going to be going in doing some rock climbing with this vehicle again because I can't see on the outside. I can't see if I'm going to hit anything, at least on here. It's all pretty flat for the most part. I mean, it's obviously bumpy, you can see on the camera, but I mean, I'm not traversing major hills and cliffs. So I don't really need to have that spotter to make sure I'm not actually hitting anything, because that would be bad. You don't want to damage your vehicle. You especially don't want to damage a vehicle that's not yours, like it is the case here, because it is not my car. But it gets the job done. On the road, not too bad. Off the road, does pretty well. Certainly a lot better than other subcompact crossovers would. I had a lot of fun filming that off-road segment with the Renegade. We did have some technical difficulties with the cameras, and without a spotter to double as a camera person, we had to film what we could given the circumstances. This area could serve as well for future off-roading courses, but we are still looking for something a little more reliable for testing, so please let us know in the comments below if you're aware of some off-roading areas in Quebec that we can test these kind of vehicles on. But let's talk about fuel economy. The 2019 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk completed our 100-kilometer test loop in 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers, or 27 US miles per gallon. The rest of our week got up to 11 liters per 100 kilometers, or 21.4 US mpg. But that includes a lot of in-town driving along with that off-roading, which took up about 2 hours of filming. Not too bad for a subcompact crossover, a little less efficient than the BMW X2 M35i, Toyota CHR, and Volvo XC40, but did a little bit better than the 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara we featured, although that is in a segment of its own. How about our likes and dislikes about the Renegade? First off, we find the exterior design to be attractive, definitely on the cute side of things, but still rugged enough for off-road use without looking like a toy. The LED headlights worked well during our nighttime testing, although automatic high beams aren't available on the Trailhawk and require the limited trim with the $1,795 Advanced Technology Group. Interior space is also excellent with plenty of vertical headroom over competing vehicles, and the Jeep branding and Easter eggs throughout are a nice touch for those Mopar enthusiasts who want to pick up this baby Jeep. Finally, the 4x4 system is a like for us, being the only subcompact crossover we've tested so far with dedicated 4-wheel drive selection modes and a 4-wheel drive lock option. For off-road use, these systems worked well for us, and I imagine the Renegade Trailhawk would be a solid winter vehicle with the dedicated snow mode. Though we think some improvements can be made to help boost this vehicle's appeal. The lack of Mopar's off-road pages is a miss. We'd like to see a consistent suite of technology geared towards off-road users across Jeep's trail-rated lineup, and would help give drivers more information about their vehicle's situation while off-roading. The backup camera is also poor quality, something that we've experienced from FCA when it comes to their non-360-degree systems, so an improvement to the video quality would help a lot. The one-touch turn signals are also a huge annoyance, as FCA has set them to a 5-flash pattern without the ability to change it to the widely used 3-flash system. Now I know some people don't like the one-touch signals to begin with, but being locked to 5 flashes feels like a cost-cutting measure. Most vehicles we've tested have the option to switch between off, 3 flashes, 5 flashes, or 7. Given the option of only having 5, we'd much prefer the one-touch signals not being included to begin with. Overall, though, we were impressed with Jeep's cute little crossover, with tall windows, a high ride height and feel, and functional 4-wheel drive capability. But let us know what you think about the Renegade Trailhawk by leaving a comment below or replying to an ongoing discussion. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our growing community of car enthusiasts.